Hi, Steve Stine here, and what we're going to be doing today is we're going to start learning how to expand the pentatonic connection that we know on the fretboard to start including the diatonics. Now, it's going to take a little bit of work here to explain this to you, but I promise by the end of this, you're going to really have a great handle on this. And the reason is we're going to start with the pentatonic idea, and we're just going to start expanding upon that pentatonic idea. So when you're feeling good, you got your guitar tuned up, you're ready to go, come on back and let's get started. Okay, so the first thing we need to do is understand what is a diatonic scale. Now, I'm not going to go into a bunch of theory for you right now. Again, you've heard me say this many times. I think theory is important, but that's not what we're talking about right now. But there are some things that we need to know to be able to make the association from pentatonic to diatonic. Diatonic is, again, a 7-note scale. It's the do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do scale, and it really is the pinnacle of all music theory. In order to understand music theory, you need to understand the diatonic scale. Now, again, we're going to be building it visually, but I want to give you some tips and some things to think about a little bit. So the pentatonic scale is kind of like the little brother. The pentatonic scale is a 5-note scale where they've taken 2 of the notes of the diatonic and they've thrown them out the window. And when they do that, the pentatonic becomes more of a kind of a skeleton that you can use in all sorts of broad ranges of playing. And that's why people like the pentatonic, is the pentatonic really doesn't have any wrong notes. When you add those 2 notes back into the pentatonic to make it diatonic, it becomes much more defined. So it's really important to understand that, because as we keep going here through this stuff, like when we first started playing the minor or the pentatonic, we started off by learning the minor shape, and then we learned how we can move it down to major and all that stuff, which is great. But in order for us to really talk about the diatonic scale, we need to start with the major, and then we'll work our way backwards to the minor. And remember, this rule that we've got with your first finger and your pinky that we did in the pentatonic connection, it's the same thing, okay? It's going to work the same way on this diatonic as well. So here's what we're going to do, okay? Now, the charts that you've got are written in the key of F. And the reason I wrote them in the key of F is simply so I could fit as much on the fretboard as possible. But please remember our treadmill theory, right? We can move these to any key we want. Well, because we used the key of A when we were doing the pentatonic connection, we're also going to be using the key of A for the diatonic connection, okay? So your chart's going to be written a little bit differently. Remember, the reason I did that is so it would all fit on your fretboard nice and easy to see. So you're just going to shift that chart a little bit to accommodate what we're talking about. So let's go back and just talk about this. So we had the minor pentatonic. And then the major pentatonic was done by simply moving down 3 frets, which puts our pinky on the A, which we learned A major and F sharp minor are the same thing, okay? Now, the rule doesn't change for diatonic, but here's what I want you to think about. What we're going to do now is we're going to call this note 1, okay? Because it's A major. We're playing an A major right now. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5... 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, and then we run out of strings. That's what pentatonic is. Well, when we make this into a diatonic scale, we need to add 2 notes back into this scale. So let me show you what's going to happen here. We're going to add in 1, 2, 3, 4. So we're taking that pentatonic skeleton right here, but we're adding in this note, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're adding in a new note, okay? Now, again, when we were counting in pentatonic, we had 5 notes, which is true. But in diatonic, when we count, these really are what we call the intervals, okay? This is the root. This is the second. This is the third. This is the real fourth. Where in pentatonic, we went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because we only had 5 notes. Well, in diatonic, now all of a sudden, if you were talking to another musician and you were in the key of A, your A is the root. Your B is the second note, or the second, we call it. Okay, the C sharp is the third. The D is the actual fourth. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay? So when you spread this pentatonic to become diatonic, you're adding in the fourth. That's the first note you're going to add in. Then we go 5, 6, Again, we're counting in diatonic now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, now we gotta add in another note. We're going to add in what's called the seventh. Now, that wasn't pentatonic. We didn't have that note, but now we do. It's right here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then there's our root again. So what we've done is we've taken this pentatonic skeleton and we've added in 2 notes, the 4th and the 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And now when you listen to it, you can hear that it sounds like do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. See? So we're just expanding the pentatonic to add these 2 new notes in to create the major scale. And we can play it all the way through those 2 octaves. We can play 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1. And now I'm going to start on this note here, the 3rd fret, or excuse me, the 3rd string, 2nd fret. So I have A, B, or 1, 2, 3, 4. So this note and that note are octaves. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, now this note on the 1st string we played, because this was 6, 7, this was our new note. So we can play those down here as well. So again, you can always go backwards. Just remember, this is your target note, is your A. Okay, so now all of a sudden you've got this large chart of all of these different notes. This is where people get confused, is they look at the charts and they go, holy crap, that's a lot of stuff going on and there's too much to memorize. What I want you to think about initially as we start doing this is all you're doing is expanding the pentatonic by adding 2 notes. That's all you're doing. Okay, if you decide you want to study further into theory or you want to study further into modes and all these kind of things, God bless you. There's a ton of different cool stuff that you can study to get you there. But let's just start off by learning how to expand, okay? So now what we're going to do, we just played an A major, do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do, A major diatonic. Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to slide this back up to A minor, okay? And I'm going to play the exact same thing. Okay, so remember, we started here, but we did have those other 2 notes underneath because we played those on the 6th string. Well, now, when we move back up, we're going to play all that as well. So we're playing 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 8, 5, 7, 4, 5, 7, 5, 6, 8, and 5, 7, 8. We're playing the exact same thing you played here in A major, but we shifted it back up to minor. So now we're starting with our 1st finger. And when we do that, we're still playing diatonic. You can see we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then 1. Okay? The only difference is we're counting from this note instead of this note, right? Because we're in A minor. So again, don't let that confuse you, right? The simple pentatonic thought that when you start with your 1st finger, you're in minor. When you start with your pinky, you're in major. It still applies to the diatonic. There are a million ways of looking at diatonic. I'm going to show you how to look at diatonic as a pentatonic expansion by adding those 2 notes. So when you play A minor pentatonic, you play... Now that you're playing it diatonic, you're adding in this note and this note. Now over here we called them a 4th and a 7th. 1, 2, 3, 4, because we were counting from the A major here, or the A. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Well, we're going to do the same thing, but we're counting from the A again, but we're on this side now, playing the exact same shape. So we're adding 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2. So they get called something else when they're minor. They get called a second, 1, 2, 3, and please keep referring that I'm playing the exact same thing I did here, but I'm playing it here. Over there, I used A as my root, and over here, I'm using A as my root. So they're the exact same shape. They're just being called something else because this is 1 and this is 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. See, they sound differently, don't they? I'm playing the same shape, but when I played it down here, starting with my pinky, it was major. When I play it here, just like pentatonic, it's minor. So when I do minor pentatonic and I expand to diatonic, I'm adding in 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. A second and a sixth.